All right, hi everybody. Ryan Pruitt, typical white guy here. As always, watch out for random cats walking through. And as always, I feel like I could start off with a disclaimer. Typical white guy, just saying, look, whatever problems I got, I know it's better than most people, especially Donald Trump. And that's where we begin today. I've added to the wall here. I need you to do us a favor. It will be asked months and years from now, is it really possible to lose, to be impeached, to perhaps lose the office of the presidency because of one, not only one phone call, but because of one thing said on a phone call? The answer is yes. Our boy, our president of the United States, he has had. There's been months when I thought he had a bad month. This is a bad. What is it? It's September 29th. Uh, so 10 days ago, about almost 2 weeks ago, he was flying pretty high. The Mueller report had let's admit it, kind of come and gone. I mean, there was a lot of good info in there, relevant info, criminal info, but I guess I nothing in politics surprises me, and so I don't demand that other people care about what I care about, or think that people are going to vote or rally or even be offended by the things that I would. So President Trump pretty much survived the Mueller report. I mean, his poll ratings were never good. They didn't fall off the cliff. You know, he was hanging out there in the 40s, and there was still a path for re-election. I would have still, if I had to bet money, I don't know about today. 2 weeks ago, if I had to bet money one way or the other if he would be reelected or not, I would put it on him being reelected because he's the president. He's just home field advantage. Um, Monday or Tuesday, almost 2 weeks ago, Corey Lewandowski, uh, officially as part of an impeachment inquiry, testified before Congress and just completely blew them off. Um, Answered what he wanted to answer, didn't answer what he wanted to answer. On a break during the testimony, he tweeted out a link to his Senate campaign. That's how good and confident he was feeling, and it was pretty symbolic of how I would imagine, how the entire Trump administration was feeling. This was a guy did not even hold an official government role, was representing everything Donald Trump stood for, and was giving the finger to Congress, and nothing was happening. Nothing. He did his thing, and they were aghast and discussed, perhaps writing a memo, strongly worded, that he might be held in contempt or blah blah. Nothing. Um, and then, I guess about Thursday morning, Adam Schiff, whose name will become very well known, mentioned that there was a whistleblower complaint that I guess somehow he in Congress heard was coming through the channels from the intelligence community, but hadn't made it to Congress yet. And there'll be books about it. I don't know how he knew or what they knew, but there was something about this particular complaint and the way it was not being handled that set off some alarm bells. And holy crap, we're in a 5 alarm fire. So it turned out, well, So there's a rumor of a whistleblower complaint. What the contents are, we don't know. That's part of the issue. And apparently even the president didn't know, which, we'll get back to that one. But so even the president didn't exactly know what was in this complaint. But apparently from news reports, the fake news, which Trump believed, the complaint was about a phone call that the president made to the president of Ukraine on July 25th. And the complaint was put in, based on the complaint was filed August 12th. News reports were trying to figure out, okay, apparently we know it's based on a phone call, a promise that the president made. They started looking at, okay, what potential phone calls happened in that time. We're guessing it might be this Russia one, it could be this Ukraine one. So President Trump, I guess, one, believes that it's about this July 25th call to Ukraine, and two, he believes that the whistleblower complaint contained or knew the exact contents of the phone call. So to get out ahead of the story, this past Monday, I'm trying to remember where I was when I read it. But anyway, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. President Trump releases a transcript, a modified transcript of the phone call to Ukraine. And I remember the day before, his deputy press secretary was on Fox News, Hogan Gidley, and he said, "Look, I've read the transcript. Nothing wrong here. I'm good with it." Fox News host, you confident? Yeah, I read it. It's fine. So I was like, okay, Hogan, well, dang, all right, you're pretty confident. So either we're wrong, it's heavily edited. Cool, let's find out. The transcript comes out. And actually that morning, Chris Christie, U.S. attorney, Trump ally, said, look, the president is allowed, back and forth with other leaders. He can negotiate. He can talk some business. Just, he'll be fine. This is Chris Christie's words. He'll be fine as long as he doesn't say anything like, I don't know, could you do us a favor? If he doesn't do that, he's fine. So the transcript comes out, and it's a half-hour phone call, and we've probably got maybe 16 minutes of talk. So there might be more to this, but this is the part the president released himself. Back and forth, pleasantries are exchanged. UK president brings up, we realize that Giuliani. Now he does bring up Giuliani first, but he's bringing him up. He's mentioning Giuliani first because Giuliani has already been to Ukraine and been contacting Ukraine and been up Ukraine's ass about information on Biden. That's why the UK president brought up, officially in the phone call, brought up Giuliani first. And then, but the UK president says, look, you got your man Giuliani here. We're trying to work with them. But what I want to talk about is there's an arms shipment of what they're called Javelin missiles, shoulder-mounted rockets. That's the business. That's what Ukraine wants. The president says, I'd like to talk to you about. We are ready to move forward with our purchase of shipment of Javelin missiles for defensive purposes only. That's what they would call the quid. Immediately, the next line of the transcript is that I need you to do us a favor. And the first thing that crossed my mind was that U.S. That is not, I need you to do the United States a favor. It's us a favor. And the us he's talking about is not the United States. The national interest of the United States does not give a crap if Hillary Clinton's server is in Ukraine. The national interest do not care if Joe Biden's son made a lot of money in Ukraine. And Donald Trump knows this. He knows what he is saying here. I need you to do us a favor. And then the rest of the phone call has nothing to do about being congratulatory, which was the initial reasoning for the call. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Actually, he didn't even say why he was calling this time. That was the first phone call. We don't know. There was no benign stated intent behind this phone call. This phone call actually happened 5 days after the President of the United States halted the funding for Ukraine that had already been approved by Congress. Now there's a question of, did Ukraine know at this time that the aid had been held up? It's possible they did not know. However, they did know that none of the aid that had been approved by Congress and was public knowledge that had been approved already, they knew they had not received the aid yet. And even in the phone call, the UK president says he's asking for something he doesn't have yet. Right before President Trump says this. You're not allowed to do this. And I honestly, maybe even today, I still think President Trump doesn't understand that. I have a lot of friends on Facebook. Some of my military buddies, Trump fans, don't understand this. It's like wearing a hat. As president, you wear different hats at different times. When President Trump is at a MAGA rally, when he's in front of his people, he literally can put on that MAGA hat and he can ask for money. He can say whatever he wants about Joe Biden, about his son. He can go anywhere he wants politically, because at that time he's a political campaigner working for himself, for his campaign. That's all fine. But when you're the president and you're speaking to another president and you're representing the whole of the country, you have a different hat on. You have your international diplomat hat. And while you have that hat on, I know it's crazy, but you can't talk about these other things that maybe are in your head and not, or it's all the same shopping aisle for you. But as president, you can't mix them. And he did. And obviously he didn't think there was nothing wrong with it, because he put this out and he was proud of it. He still calls it to this day a perfect phone call. And this is just the beginning of the problems. But this in itself, as Chris Christie, U.S. attorney who has dealt with extortion and racketeering and shakedowns and mob activity and mob language, said before it was known, this is a problem. So, welcome to the wall. And the impeachment train has left the station, and it is moving fast. I need the President of the United States, with all his resources, I need you to do us a favor. Are you kidding me? Be here again.